So I've noticed on the videos, some of the comments and a lot of private messages. There's a lot of crossover from my old pro wrestling days. People that are interested in my arm wrestling, and they might only be interested because of my pro wrestling days. And I've had a lot of people ask me to talk more about the pro wrestling, and it's not. I'm not specifically not talking about it, but this YouTube channel is about my arm wrestling journey. But I do have some memorabilia and memories, and I do like talking about wrestling, and I do still wrestle a little bit. I still wrestle for All Star Wrestling in England from time to time, maybe one tour a year, a 2 week tour a year, just to keep my toe in the water, and because I enjoy it, and it's some money and a trip, and and I if I'm able to do it, I think I still should once in a while if I enjoy it. So let's go downstairs, and I'm going to introduce you to Brody's Imperial Tavern. I named that because my favorite bar in the world is a little bar named the Imperial Tavern in Birkenhead, England, owned by Paul Navarro, and it's where the wrestlers always hung out. He would always give it, always give us a free pint, and we would sit and chit chat, and he became really part of our community. And he's a great guy, and I just saw him recently. Every time I go to England now, I make sure that I go see Paul, and very often at the end of a night when I've already had too much, he would hand me a 40-ouncer of Jack Daniels and insist that nobody goes to bed until it's empty. So me and the crew would sit down and have a nightcap. And I couldn't do that now because I'd be hungover for weeks. But that was part of our lifestyle back in the day. Let's go take a look. And there's some wrestling memorabilia, posters and stuff. I'll walk you through it for those who are interested. If not, pay attention. You might learn something if I can get the door open. My favorite country in the world is Ireland. That's where probably half my heritage, half my genealogy comes from. So first thing you see is an Irish flag. Brody's Imperial Tavern. That was sent to me by a wrestling fan and very close friend named Shelley Brown. She's from Cape Breton. She's been watching me wrestle for years, and she's become a friend of the family. She's been here. She sent me that when I built this little man cave because of COVID. We had nothing to do, so I thought I got to do something. So I'll show you what I've. First, we'll take a little quick peek into where I train. You've seen videos in here before. This is where I train when the weather's cold, when I can't train in the garage. So usually the arm wrestling table's right here. The treadmill that gets used by my wife, very rarely by me. My inversion table, which keeps me upright and walking like a human being. Just a few weights. I bought these magazines years ago, old bodybuilding magazines from the 40s and 50s. Always hung on to them. Now we've got them protected under glass. That's John Grimmick, the first famous bodybuilder, the first professional bodybuilder, I guess you could say. John Grimmick squatted 500 pounds on his 75th birthday. So he was a lifer. This is my wife in her prime. My wife is a very, very good competitive bodybuilder. This would have been when she won the Atlantic Classic in 2015 at the age of 44, 45. She hadn't competed in 10 years. I remember hearing at the gym, people saying, "Oh, such and such is going to win this show," and they never once mentioned her name. And one time I said to one of the girls, I said, "You haven't mentioned the girl who's actually going to win the show, my wife." She goes, "Who's your wife?" And I said, "Denise Smith." Never heard of her. Well, she fucking heard of her the week after when she got the stage wiped by her. Hi, Keel. These are my short journey in arm wrestling so far. I've picked. This is the Atlantic. My first Atlantic's 2023. I got third place on the right arm. This was last year where I got second place on the right arm. This was this year where I got second place on the left arm. This was from Match of the Year 2024. These are provincial medals. First place, both arms, Grand Masters, Open Division, 2023. Again in 2024, first place, both arms, undefeated, both of those, by the way. This was my one and only amateur tournament before they forced me to go pro. This was 2023, I believe. Open division, super heavyweight, first place undefeated, both arms. This was a tournament at the Igloo, open division, super heavyweight, silver medal, both arms. And this was this outfit, Major Arm Wrestling Championships. It was a super match against Wade Graves, where I won in a very, very hard battle, 3-2. I'm not really a drinker. My wife's not a drinker. My daughter's only 18, and we don't really associate much with drinkers. So it's a bar almost in name only, although have had some fun in here. Speaking of wrestling and memorabilia, this is my best friend Mike Hughes' promotion, Red Rock Wrestling. That's Mike Hughes right there. A lot of my friends, myself, of course. These are news clippings from around the world: India, Germany, Russia. This is a poster from my favorite place to wrestle in the world, Fairfield Halls in Croydon. Croydon's a suburb of London. Fairfield Halls is basically what we used to call it the Madison Square Garden of England. I main evented there many, many, many times, and they don't run wrestling in the main hall there anymore, which is a crime against humanity. This is the old wood stove that we burn a couple cords of wood a winter in. This is my favorite city in Ireland, Galway. This would have been a show from, I'm going to say, judging by the people on the poster, Luna, may she rest in peace. 2004, 2005, something like that. This is a flag of my other favorite country in the world, the other half of my genes, Germany. A place where I loved wrestling. That was my wife's last bodybuilding contest in 2015, where she won the overall. In one of these many trophies that this would have been won by her, probably all the ones with the picture with the figurine of a woman on top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all hers. In the Maritimes, nobody ever scored a point against her. She won her weight division and overall by a sweep every single time. These are all a mix of strongman and softball trophies, from anywhere from 1983 to, God, I don't know, probably late 90s, early 2000s. I used to play competitive softball at a pretty high level. This was a wrestling trophy. This was a tournament in Moscow, and I was named Mr. Moscow after winning the battle royal. And this is a Russian hat that I happened to pick up at a market during that same time, so I keep these two together. I don't know if we're allowed to even say Russia anymore, but they weren't in a war then, and I was getting paid to wrestle, and I quite enjoyed it. This is a cowboy hat given to me by my best friend Mike Hughes when the night that I was presented this was a Lifetime Achievement Award in professional wrestling. So last year I got brought to PEI. They presented me with that. He gave me a hat, which I love to wear, even though my wife and daughter think I look like a doofus in it. I think I look like a stud in it. All right. Moving on. Korea, 2006, I'm going to say. I really don't know. 2007, maybe. Lee Wang-pil, may he rest in peace, was the promoter. He's died recently. This was a legendary Korean wrestler, Carmen, who died days after this tournament. We honored him in this at the Seoul Olympic Stadium. He came and he sat ringside, and we honored him. And I'd never heard of him before, to be honest. But I mean, why would I have heard of a Korean wrestler from the 40s and 50s in Canada? but I went to Korea quite often, and I really enjoyed my time there. This is from one of my favorite nights ever. It was a cage match in Graz, Austria, the hometown of Arnold Schwarzenegger, against one of my very, very close friends, Chris Rabber. The Bambi Killer is his wrestling name. A lot of the people on that poster are very good friends of mine to this day. So that's a good memory that'll always cherish. That's my beautiful daughter when she was about 15 or 16. This is from one of my 9 tours of India, where I main evented most nights with the Great Khali. We had some of the biggest crowds in wrestling history. We had over 50,000 many times, but we've had 80 and 90,000 a couple times. And it's funny, the wrestling press never really picked that up because he wasn't one of their favorites, but whatever. We packed houses. A lot of the guys on that poster have gone on to WWE careers or already had WWE careers. This is from my last trip to not my last trip to England, but the trip before. This was, I hadn't wrestled in 5 years, and they invited me back for this tour, and I decided to bring this rollout poster home with me. It's one of my favorites. The Epsom Playhouse, that was a regular stop for us, and in England we would wrestle from 7 to 10 times a week. So there, you a town like Epsom that you normally wouldn't have heard of, I used to wrestle there 4 or 5 times a year probably. All right, this is just a small version of a poster from Japan. I made it to Japan, I guess, 3 or 4 times. I never really made it big in Japan, but I was usually in the main event and, got paid well. I enjoyed my time in Japan with my best friend Mike Hughes as well for those trips. In this, only a wrestler would really get that, or a hardcore wrestling fan. This is a Ribera Steakhouse jacket. And if you've made it in Japan at all, you get presented with one of those. So, most successful wrestlers that have been to Japan have got one of those somewhere in the house. They're ugly, so we don't fucking wear them, of course, although I have worn it. Now it's like a trophy. That's probably worth more than anything else in this room. I could put that on eBay, and I could make coin, because there's a lot of wrestlers that will never earn the right to have that jacket, but would be happy to pay hundreds of dollars for it. This is just a small collection of beer steins and booze and pictures and memorabilia. There's photo albums and stuff in there. It's like I said, it's supposed to be a bar. This is the bar that I built with my own 2 hands. It was just going to end here. When COVID started, I thought it was only supposed to be 2 weeks to stop the spread. So I thought, well, in 2 weeks I can build a little bar. I'll put it in front of the TV, a couple bar stools, and that was supposed to be it. But because COVID lasted so long, we ended up with the whole shebang. This is a picture of my cage match from the poster from Austria. One of my favorite matches. Just a variety of small pictures from my friends through the years. This is my daughter. This is another poster from Japan with the same group. This is a picture from when I was the World Heavyweight Champion in Germany for Power of Wrestling. That was actually pretty old there. I was probably already close to 50. This is a picture of the group of friends from England after a tour right before COVID. Dartboard that hasn't been used in years. Wedding picture. Variety of my mother and my daughter when she was a baby. Myself and my daughter. My daughter and our good friend Julia Knight from the famous Knight wrestling family in England. This is memorabilia that I picked up. All this stuff was from South Africa, India, I think Bahamas, Japan, South Africa, India again. This is a skull of an otter, of all things, that my daughter found in a piece of property that I own in Nova Scotia that we were exploring. And so we decided that's pretty cool. Put it in glass and keep it. my good friend Titus with my daughter and his niece. Titus again. Me and my very close friend Drew McDonald in Russia. Drew sadly passed away almost 10 years ago now, or it might even be 10 years ago. And that was probably the one and only time my daughter saw me cry. That was a big loss to the wrestling community and me personally. This is myself and Mike Hughes is holding the opponent, and I'm coming off the top rope and smashing him. That's in Tokyo, Shinjuku Face Arena. And this is my first wrestling poster ever, when I started with Emile Dupree in 1998. And although I was being presented as a champion, I had never had a match before. So that was for my first photo shoot. And that belt is photoshopped in. And if you zoomed in really close and knew what you're looking for, you would find the fingers of Ric Flair, because it was taken out of a magazine of him standing with the belt like this. So his fingers are on the belt, and it was superimposed off of Ric Flair onto my waist. And little did I know, the fans in 1998 were already kind of smart to the business. And so they want to know everything. Where'd you win the belt? That's an NWA belt. I didn't fucking know. And so I was caught off guard. I didn't know what to say. So that's the Dime Tour. I forgot one thing. These placemats, they hold a little special spot. This was sent to me. This was custom made by the owner of the original Imperial Tavern in Birkenhead, England, Paul Navarro. He sent me he had it custom made, with Brody's Premium Bar, and this one from his own pub, Imperial Tavern. That meant a lot to me. And this Stolichnia drink pad was given to me by my good friend Scott Douglas. And there's a long story about how he acquired this from Somalia that I'm going to have him tell the story sometime. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, and when you're on the road a lot, you don't always get to cash in all your money. And sometimes they won't, anything here, if I brought to the bank, like I think that is won, I believe, from Korea. I could probably cash that in, but it's only worth like $10. And a lot of these things, like this is an Egyptian pound. I'm not gonna. You could bring it to the bank and they would just laugh at you. I don't even know where some of it is. I'd have to sit back with my reading glasses on. But anyway, you don't always cash in all your money, so you end up with souvenirs instead. So if anyone's thinking about breaking into my house and robbing me, all of this money is probably maybe a couple $100. All right, that's the Dime Tour.